Please subscribe to our channel on Apple Podcasts, Immigrantly Uninterrupted. You can subscribe for as little as $34.99 for the entire year or $3.99 a month. And yes, you will get ad-free episodes. But honestly, this isn't really about skipping ads. It's about supporting independent media and conversations that don't always have a neat little box to live in. The kind of conversations where we talk about life, identity, culture, dating, relationships, all the messy, but real stuff. So think of it like this. If you've ever listened to an episode of Lovely while you're on a walk, you're in the car, or maybe even after a bad date thinking, okay, wow, I really needed to hear that. This is how you help keep those conversations going. So if Lovely has ever made you feel seen, challenged your thinking, or expanded the narrative around all those things, subscribing is one way you can support the show. If you enjoy the conversations we're having, subscribe to Immigrantly Uninterrupted and help us keep building this on our terms. And once you do, send me a message on Instagram. I'd love to know. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Lovely. I'm your host, Mahek, and happy Friday. I don't have any juicy updates for you. I haven't really been going on any dates. And for today's episode, I know it's going to be a fun one because I am joined by a comedian. His name is Tommy Mellor. He does stand up.
I'm a nervous guy. I've been going to therapy. And one of the things I've been talking to my therapist about is that I think I'm creepy. And she said, no, I don't think you're creepy at all, actually. So I followed her home.
He is originally from Calgary, so a fellow Canadian. We love that. And he recently released his comedy special called The Prince of All Comics. And I like Tommy's comedy because he's known for his dry, sarcastic humor, which personally I prefer as opposed to really in-your-face comedy. I'm really curious to have some of that dry humor come out today. But what really caught my attention about Tommy's story is his personal life. He is married to a Pakistani woman. And fun fact, they actually got married in Pakistan and he's currently learning Urdu.
I hear Chutia a lot and she says it to me all the time. And it means the love of my life.
Sure. And I think a lot of his comedy touches on navigating cultural differences, relationships, and, his own married life, which I feel like opens the door to a lot of funny but very real conversations. Tommy, welcome to Lovely. How are you?
I'm super well. Thanks for having me.
I know before we hit record, I was asking you where you currently are, and you're in Edmonton these days, correct?
Yeah, the great north of Edmonton.
Oh my God. How long have you been there for now?
We've been up here for, I think, about 6 months now. The community's great. The city is gross, but I make what I can of it. It's all you can do.
I used to travel for work all across Canada, and I had to go to Edmonton once, and I'd never been to Edmonton. And I was there for a conference. So I was there just for the night and then I was out. So I go to the bar near my hotel and it's very eerie feeling. It's a Thursday night, but the bar is dead. No one is there. I'm I just want to go get my dinner and then I'm out. So I'm talking to the bartender and I'm like, hey, it feels a little weird. Why aren't people here? Also, when I was walking, I felt a little unsafe. He's like, it's the murder capital of Canada. And I was like, you don't say. And then, yeah, I had my dinner and I made sure I went in an Uber home because I didn't want to walk. And yeah, that was my impression of Edmonton.
It is pretty bleak. Even walking around, a lot of Edmonton looks very bleak. There are some spots. Once you know where the spots are, it's a little better. The art scene here is, I think, unmatched. But it is. At the end of the day, it's Edmonton.
Absolutely. So let's kind of get into a little bit more about your background and your origin story. So I know you're in Edmonton, but you're from Calgary. Would kind of love to learn how you grew up and like what is your connection to immigrant identity now?
Well, originally, I was raised in a small town. I'm from a very small town, so like I never really knew any immigrants. It's just a very white town. I moved to Calgary. I've lived in Calgary for 10 years doing comedy, and I was lucky enough to match with my now wife, who's a beautiful Pakistani woman, and she went out with me as a joke. She never thought it was going to be anything serious. She just thought this it's a comedian. This might be a funny story. She goes out with the comedian and tells her friends afterwards. But I guess I got the last laugh on that one. Now she's stuck with me.
Well, how did you meet though?
Through Bumble. I also didn't take it very seriously. I kept my Bumble to 1 kilometer away, and then I would have dates at a bar that was right next to my house. Because I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I'll meet him here. And so she was a kilometer away. I made her come right by my house. And then later she got back at me because I had to go 10,000 kilometers to Pakistan to marry her. She got me back in the end.
She got the last laugh. I want to get into like the entire story of like, how you guys met, how did the relationship evolve? Going back to your roots. So, you grew up in a small town and what did you kind of learn about relationships, but even like was it normalized to like date whoever you wanted to date? Like what was that like?
For me, for my family, yeah, they didn't care too much who I dated as long as I was happy. Like it's very simple. I never had any sort of problem with anybody I dated.
Did you date a lot when you were growing up?
I had like a high school girlfriend and stuff like that. I was never the most popular guy in the world. I did my best.
Okay, fair. How did you get into comedy? Was there a reaction from your friends and family there?
I was always a class clown. I was always a little bit more worried about being funny in class than being good at class. And I think it's always been in me that I wanted to do something like that. I either wanted to act or I wanted to write or something. And then one day I signed up for a mic in Calgary. I drove all the way up there from my small town. And after I did it that first time, that was it for me. I was stuck doing it forever. I couldn't quit.
Okay, so comedy was your passion and then you just turned into a career?
Yeah, slowly over time. Takes a long time. When you start out, you're just it's a struggle after struggle, and now it's still a struggle, but it's better now.
I'm very curious. So you guys match on Bumble. How was your first date? How would you rate your first date out of a 10?
I think I would call it a 10.
You're saying that now, but during that time, what was it?
Even then, she's a very impressive person. Like I'm a very shy person. Like I can go on stage. That's easy for me. Usually in social settings, I'm a very shy person. She's the most charismatic energy. She's a pro. So like talking to her was very effortless. For me, 10 out of a 10 date. Like I remember that night I walked her home because like usually I would, you go on my date right next to my house and I'm like, "Oh, okay, great night." But yeah, she impressed me so much. I'm like, I'm gonna walk her home. This one's special.
So apart from her charisma, right, and the ability to kind of just make it feel effortless, I guess like walk me through your thought process. Like, were you attracted to her just from like a physical standpoint? Because were you dating women from all different cultures? Like, what about her was like, oh yeah, like I want to go on a date with her? Or, was it something about like her upbringing or background that you found really different that she brought to yours? And you're like, I'm curious, I want to learn more.
At the beginning, I was very simple minded. I was just a guy swiping on Bumble, swiping on whoever, not thinking about it too much.
What's the philosophy of that? Can I get into that for a second? Because, like, when you swipe on Bumble, what are you looking at? Like, how long are you looking at a profile and what are you scanning for? Like, if you could be really, really real with me right now.
It depends how you're feeling on the day. Like, because sometimes you're like, well, maybe I am looking for a relationship, so maybe I'll look more deeply into their profile. But a lot of times you're just like, I don't know, maybe I'll just they seem pretty. I'll give it a crack. We'll see if I could do a date. That might be fun. At the very least, it'll be something fun to do. And you're not thinking about it too much. You're just hoping I might get lucky. And sometimes it happens.
So is everything like a swipe right majority of the time?
Yeah, if you find somebody to like, oh, this they're attractive, so yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, there's not a lot of thought behind it a lot of times.
It's so different from girls.
Yeah, I think they like we guys really gotta build our profile like a science and have the right pictures and really think about where everything goes if we want a hope of getting matches. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how long after the first date did you ask her out on a second date? And then kind of what did that dating journey look like? How long did you guys date for and so on and so forth?
it was pretty quick for the second date because if she likes something, she goes for it. So she messaged me after that date. She says, "I'd like to see you again," which is not something I commonly got with girls. That they would message me first and say that. So I enjoyed that, and yeah, like over the next couple weeks, like we had a couple more meetings and stuff. But the longer we dated, obviously, it got more complicated in ways because the thing about like Pakistanis or Muslims in general, not really allowed to be dated, not really allowed to
Mm-hmm.
happen. I didn't know at the time, but that eventually came into play a little bit.
How quickly did you find that out and what did she tell you?
I knew that her parents are still in Pakistan, and I knew like we had been like out a couple times, but then she told me like, oh yeah, her parents found her some people to date or to meet here in like our city.
Like an arranged marriage type of thing.
Like she was never interested, which because like she always wanted to kind of choose her own path. But for me, it was intimidated because she was always they were setting her up with like engineers and stuff. Like I'm a comedian. She'll come home from a day like, oh yeah, pick me up in a Tesla. I'm like, I got a Ford Focus. This is nuts that you're doing this.
Hold on. You guys were dating, but then she still had to go meet these guys that she was being set up by her parents.
Yeah, well, this was like the early days before it was like this where it's just me and you, exclusive kind of deal.
So you haven't had the exclusive conversation, like you're not girlfriend boyfriend, but like how it actually happens these days is, yeah, you're dating and I'm dating, but we're not really telling each other that we're dating. It's just like an unknown thing. But in this case, she's telling you because she's like, oh, he picked me up in Tesla. Is that what was happening, or you found out later?
Yeah, she did tell me, but she was never like. It always seemed like a thing that for her it was like a burden that she had to do this. She's like, I don't know,
Right.
I don't want
Okay,
to
got
like
it.
I have to go meet this
By the way,
whatever.
I'm just asking out of curiosity. I'm not making any judgments whatsoever. I'm just very curious about the process because I'm very familiar with what you're talking about. I'm Pakistani as well, and I'm Muslim. So I know the whole shebang, right? So I understand sneaking out, not having your parents know. Okay, so early days, you guys are dating, you're finding out these stories that she's being set up. How are you feeling in that moment?
For me, it was like intimidating because she was seeing very like on paper very impressive people, and I'm like I'm just a comedian. I do okay, but I'm like I'm not a doctor. I know, like in Pakistan, like education's very important, like to the families and stuff. I did high school. That's and then I did jokes. So for me, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, maybe you're choosing wrong here. I don't know. We just kept dating. I liked her a lot.
How'd you ask her to marry you? How'd you propose?
It's a thing we did talk about it beforehand because a long time her parents did not know I existed because I guess the idea was when they found out that I existed, it was either going to be a big problem, a huge problem, or it was going to be, we got to get married right now. Before we told them, we kind of got to that spot where, like, okay, do we want to get married? And we had that discussion, and then we both agreed that that's something that we would like to do. And then, like, they don't do the whole like engagement ring thing in Pakistan, but I got her a ring anyway, and I did the classic down on the knee proposal to her, just quietly at our home together, and it was a nice little moment we shared, and then we brought the families in, tried to see how that would work.
Well, I'm really happy it worked out, but can you paint a picture for me? Like when you met her parents for the first time, what was that interaction like?
I think it went surprisingly well. I think they like me. It's uh, hard to tell because I was a guest in Pakistan. And when you're a guest, as you know, in Pakistan, they treat you really well. They love their guests beyond belief there. It's crazy how just wonderful everybody is. So everybody treated me pretty nice. Her family was calling me by like an entirely different last name or an entirely different name. Her dad just made up like a Muslim name for me, so that she's like, "Oh, I don't want people to think you're marrying some like white guy." I'm like, "Well, I think they're gonna find out. Like they're gonna know when they see my face and they hear my voice that
Oh
I'm
my God.
very much a white guy."
I mean, of course, the minute they see you, they're gonna know, like, okay, they're gonna see that. So your interaction went well. And then did you go to meet them in Pakistan or they came to Canada?
We met them on a the first time I like met them, it was like on a video call.
Do they speak English?
Yeah. Her dad speaks
Okay.
great English. Her mom says she doesn't speak it well, but she also speaks it great. So we met him there, and I think we got lucky on how we were able to pull it off because everything I hear from people, they're like, "This shouldn't have been possible. The parents should have been absolutely not." But there's a couple things that worked in our favor. Like I had already converted, I had already become Muslim, so that was one thing that needed to be done.
Talk to me about this. When did this happen in the relationship?
I think it was a couple months in. It was not something that was like new to me. I have lots of friends who are Muslims, so like I knew a lot about it. And when I converted, I I actually had to convert twice, kinda. So the first time I converted, I have a good friend, a hilarious comedian named Malik Lassel. He came to a show once with his uncle, and I knew I had to do the. That's all you need to convert is you need two Muslim men, and we were at a comedy club, and I'm like, "Hey, I gotta do this, and I'd be honored if you guys would do this for me." They were super happy to do it, and I was glad it was my, like, close friend got to be the one to convert me. So we did that there, and, like, from that moment, Muslim.
You did it at the mosque, right? Or you did it at the comedy club?
The first time we just did it at the comedy club. The second time was right before I got married. They said they needed paperwork that says I'm Muslim. I went to a mosque and ended up converting there. And I found out later that it was my friend Malik's uncle that was there. So every time I got converted, it was somehow his family was involved, which I thought was great. It was just a happy accident. And then they gave me now I have a if you're a white guy and you convert, they give you a license, and now I have a license that says I'm Muslim. It's fantastic.
Incredible. What was your relationship with religion before converting?
I don't know. I was never really like I never saw myself like belonging to any religion in particular. I have my own beliefs, but it's I never really sat anywhere like, technically like my family's Catholic, and but we were nobody was ever tremendously religious. So I kind of sat in a weird place.
What was your family's reaction to you converting and obviously having a very different lifestyle than your friends have, or even, do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I got a brother.
Yeah, so like this is completely different, right? To you and your family, and you were being told this by your now wife, so it was becoming a little bit more and more normalized, but like what was their reaction to it when they first heard, "I love this girl, I'm going to convert."
They're like so easy about it. Whatever makes you happy. Which I think that's another reason that the marriage was so easy because we have a friend who she's Pakistani and she married an Indian guy, and that like both sides of the family were very not happy about it, and that's madness. So us, we were only gonna maybe her side of the family might not be happy, but my side of the family will be easy. So you're only battling one side. I think we pulled it off because I was already Muslim, and because we were 30 and for some reason in Pakistan, when you're 30, you're dead.
Oh, you're expired.
They're like, just just marry. Yeah. Whatever. That's fine. Yeah. It's just anybody's fine.
Anyone will do. Oh my God, that's how I feel my parents are gonna react when I bring home someone. So how long have you been married for?
We got married in November of 2024, so it's a year and a bit now, almost 2 years.
I still consider you guys newlyweds. Do you get into any like fights that are very like cultural, like things that only like would come from her side or your side and there's a clash?
She yells at me in Urdu sometimes, and
Okay.
I don't know what she's saying yet.
You're learning though, right?
I'm trying. I'm rotten at it, but I'm doing my best.
Okay, I think I passed by this really quickly, but I want to go back to your time in Pakistan. So you had your wedding. What did the wedding look like? Tell me all about it.
My wife tried to prep me as best as she could because obviously Pakistani weddings much different than classic weddings over here. Multi-day affairs. We tried to keep ours tight. She said, "Oh, it's going to be a 3-day wedding," which for her family that was nuts. She said, "That's nuts. 3 days." I'm like, "Well, how many days do I need to do this?" But I didn't really know all what was going to happen. I just figured, like, I'll show up. I'm sure they'll tell me what to do. At times, I kind of felt like a prop. I kind of just felt like, okay, you stand here, you do this, and then I'll take a picture with them. You got to take a picture with them. I'm like, okay, that's cool, that's fine. And then now walk. And then people are feeding you sweets. Everybody comes and feeds you a spoonful of sweets. I don't know why we're doing this, but okay, I guess. And then the wedding itself was interesting because I didn't know with this one, you got the curtain in front of you and you don't even see her. I don't know what she's doing back there. I'm just signing a paper. And then I thought, like, oh, you sign the paper, then do you kiss the bride? Like, no, you just kind of sign the paper and then like hug her uncles and shake hands with her uncles. It's very strange. And then I thought, oh, okay, we're married now, so I guess now you and I will leave and go somewhere. But they're like, nah, there's one more event before you're allowed to go home together. So my first night married, I just spent the night sleeping in a bed with my cousin who came with me. And I'm like, this is a weird first day as a married man. This is bizarre.
So you said you had a 3-day event. Normally in Pakistani culture, like you have the nikah, which is like, do you accept him to be your wife? Do you accept her and him to be wife and husband? And then you have the reception. So are you saying that after you both did the nikah, like accepted one another as your partners, you still couldn't spend the night with her?
We did the Mendi, then the Nikah, and then the next day was the like reception. And the reception was a whole nother ball game of getting my shoes stolen, having to buy milk, all these other things.
How much did they ask you to give your shoes back?
They wanted a lot. I made a video about it where I show like the video and kind of how I dealt with it. I had a little bit of time to plan for it, so I just had envelopes that I pre-filled with money.
What did you say?
I gave them a choice, like you can have this envelope or this envelope, and I knew they were gonna end up getting both envelopes from me. I knew that from the start. Like, there's no way you could win against these girls. I thought they might go easy on me because, like, oh, he's a white guy, let's go easy on him. But then I found out that my wife at their weddings is a maniac with this. She has extorted so much money for shoes for years. She's been like the number one guy to do this. So, like, I knew like they were going to get both these envelopes. But lucky for me, I had more than two envelopes of money. I just didn't let them know that I had those.
Have you been back to Pakistan since then?
No, not yet. I'm not sure when we're gonna go again. I definitely want to spend more time there because obviously when we went there, we got married in Lahore. At the time we went there, it was kind of unfortunate timing. There was a lot of smog, the worst it's ever been. So like the air quality was like we couldn't really go outside that much, and everything was wet. And so the whole day was kind of like you gotta come here, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. And then after the wedding, we went to Karachi and we got to spend just a couple more days there, which was fantastic. Beautiful time. Rode a camel. That's my boyhood dream. I got to do it.
No one prepares you for getting on and off a camel.
It's terrifying. It's
It's
crazy.
terrible.
once you're up there, I'm like, this thing's bucks. I'm dead. Like, this is way higher than I thought. It's so much higher than you think.
And the people that are helping you are so nonchalant about it. They're like, yeah, yeah, just get on. I'm like, it's going back and forth. It's, I would, does anyone have a video of you getting on and off the camel? Like,
I have a recent
This
video of
was
that on my
awesome.
Instagram.
This was a bucket list item for me.
All right, we're on the beach with Rachi, looking for camels.
I've seen people ride camels in movies, but I mean, look at this guy stand up. It's crazy. It's more wild than you think. It's
It
a little
feels
frightening.
bizarre.
Then you're just doing it.
My wife's whole family was confused on why I even wanted to do this. Like my wife said, like, yeah, like people do this, but it's usually children that do this. I'm like, well, then I'm a child because this seems amazing.
I wanted to get your take on the white guy slash Asian girl dating stereotype. Like, what are your thoughts on that stereotype? And do you feel like people kind of place a stereotype on your relationship?
They might. You do get eyeballs sometimes. And I was talking to my wife about this because it's kind of interesting to see like sometimes we'll be walking together and we'll see there'll be like a brown guy and he'll see me and he'll look at me like nice. That's nice that you're doing that. And then they'll look at my wife and he'll be like, "Does your dad know you're doing this? Like, is this are you I'm gonna tell." Like I bring her around my parents' house. She gets stares all the time. She brought me into like a big like Pakistani restaurant that like only the locals kind of know about. White guy's never been in there, and it was great. You know, we went in there, we were sitting down, and there was an old guy there with his family, and the old guy just could not stop looking at me. Just the most confused man in the world. He's never seen this before.
I would want to women say that this is a problem that my people have. We love to stare. Like the staring problem is like off the charts. And I'm sure not only do you see it here, but like it's like on steroids, like back home.
It's usually just funny. I think it's something I don't experience usually, so it is always strange.
So talk to me about the content that you put out on like the like white guy Asian girls. I feel like a lot of people had comments and went viral. Like what is that all about?
Usually, when you tell people you're dating an Asian girl and they look like me, and I'm very much an anime nerd. I have a lot of anime stuff all over. I usually have t-shirts. So when I tell people that, they assume I'm dating like a Japanese girl, whatever. That's the typical, like stereotypical fantasy. I just thought it's funny to kind of turn it to be like, ah, that's Pakistani, so it's different.
Every episode, a guest leaves a question for my current episode. So last week's guest wants to ask you, knowing what you know now about yourself, how do you think that might have changed your relationship dynamics earlier on in previous relationships that you've had? Is there anything you would have done differently in your earlier relationships?
I would be much more patient with not just my partner, but with myself. I would allow myself to take more of a beat. Because when I was young, if I was upset about something, that emotion would kind of take over. And then I would be maybe unreasonable. I would think, my partner upset me. I would feel like, oh, I'm a victim here, or I'm angry because you did this or whatever. And I never really took the time to slow down and think about the feeling. And like sometimes I'm just like, this is not a thing that I need to, get an emotion up to a 10 at. This is a thing where I could just, bring it down. Why am I feel like this? And then communicate it in a way that's more reasonable. And rather than focusing on, let's say, winning an argument, I'm focusing on working together to solve the problem as a team. So I think that's what I would carry forward. And I think a lot of relationships would have been a lot more understanding.
That's a very married man response. I feel like you only reach that level of maturity when you're married to someone. You kind of like have no choice but to work towards the problem as a team, as opposed to against one another. What question would you like to leave for my next guest?
I would ask, what is your ideal partner? And from that, what would you be willing to compromise on with that?
That's very good. I feel like I really like that question. No one's asked that before. It challenges you to actually really think about, like, what is it that I want in a partner? Because we all think we know, but then when it comes down to like actually communicating it, we're like, wait, I don't know. And then I like the other half of it, which is you're not going to get everything that you want. So, what are your orange flags?
Everybody wants perfection, but you're never going to get perfection.
Tommy, if more people want to find you on socials, what do they search up?
Right, you could just search up Tommy Mellor Comedian on Instagram. You can search Tommy Mellor pretty much anywhere. You'll find me on all the platforms, the Reddits, the TikToks, everything. I'm everywhere.
Amazing. Awesome. Do you have any final words for anyone listening?
The best advice I can give you, do whatever your wife tells you. Do whatever she tells you. She's smarter than you. She's
Not
the
just
best.
wife.
Yeah.
Let's not stop at wife. Let's say girlfriend.
Girlfriend,
too,
just,
right?
You know what? Just do it. Anytime a woman tells you to do something, just do it.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I think everyone, that's our episode for today. This was such a fun conversation. If you want to keep up with Tommy and his comedy, you can find him on Instagram and also check out his comedy special, The Prince of All Comics. And as always, if you've enjoyed today's episode of Lovely, make sure you're following the podcast on wherever you get your podcast. Share it with a friend. Leave a review if you like it, if you feel like it. I think it really helps more people find the show. And for everyone else, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next Friday. Lovely is an Immigrantly media production. This episode was produced by Sadia Khan and Shay Yu, written by me, Mahek. Theme music, sound design, and editing by Lou Raskin. Other music is Epidemic Sound. See you next week on More Lovely.